Well, let me tell you, mine started with the worst blizzard forecast in 20 years, and a knock at my front door that would kick off the kind of chain reaction you only ever read about in those neighbors from hell stories. There I was standing in my kitchen, coffee in hand, watching the Weather Channel warn about the incoming wall of snow, when I spot her through the frosted glass, pink puffy coat, clipboard face, all pinched up like she's been sucking lemons since breakfast. I didn't even have to open the door to know, yep, that's Patricia Morrison, president of the Meadowbrook Estates Homeowners Association, self-appointed queen of rules and busybodies. She barely waited for my hello before launching in. "Mr. Thompson, we need to discuss your truck." I'm not kidding. The wind was already howling, snow swirling around her boots, but she acted like the weather was just some minor inconvenience. Her agenda came first. And of course, her agenda had to do with my Ford F-350 parked exactly where it had been for 3 years, plow attachment shining and ready. According to her bylaw section, whatever commercial vehicles are forbidden in driveways, plow or no plow. Now I know these rules better than she does. That's not a commercial vehicle, it's my own truck, and that plow, that's for clearing snow so folks like her can get out for work or emergencies. But try telling that to Patricia. She had that tone, the one where she's so sure she's right, she could rewrite the 10 Commandments. "I've already called a tow truck," she said. "They'll be here within the hour." During a blizzard, you ever get that dizzy, can't believe this is happening feeling? I had it in spades. She strutted back to her Mercedes, barely avoiding a slip on my icy steps, and I just stood there, heart pounding, torn between laughing and screaming, but I knew I had to act. So I called Derek, my neighbor and friend, 15 years in this neighborhood, former HOA board member, before Patricia decided she needed to clean things up. He was just as shocked as me, muttered something about her latest power trip last week. She fined the Johnsons for visible trash cans. She'd actually stood on a ladder to spot them. Derek said he'd call Michael, who still sat on the board, and told me to document everything. Photos times the works, just in case this blizzard became a legal storm too. So there I am, out in the thickening snow, snapping pictures of my truck like some kind of paparazzi for pickup fans, reviewing the bylaws to reassure myself. The section was clear enough: personal vehicles with occasional commercial attachments are not commercial. I'd never hauled a single paying job. Still, here comes the tow truck, big flatbed, rolling slow through the whiteout wipers, going nuts. The driver hopped out, a big guy, probably seen more blizzards than birthdays. He gives me a look, checks out the plow, lets out a whistle, and asks if I'm the one the HOA's got beef with. I explained, and he gave me the kind of side eye that says he's not sure if I'm the crazy one or if Patricia is. Then he actually crouched down to admire the plow, asked if I plowed commercial. "No, just the neighborhood," I said. The guy paused, glanced up at the swirling sky, and told me his mom lives just a few blocks away. "She might need someone to clear her driveway if the ambulance needs to get through," he said, almost offhand. He whipped out his phone, took photos of my truck, and said he'd document that it's legally parked, not a commercial vehicle, and that he was declining the tow. "Just do me a favor," he added. "If you get a chance, clear my mom's driveway." 847 Burwood Lane. Then he was gone, and for a second I felt like maybe, just maybe, common sense would win the day. But Patricia wasn't done. Nope, here she comes skidding around the corner, practically shrieking out of her Mercedes. "Where's he going?" she demanded, pointing at the tow truck. I told her. She went red, impressive considering the cold. She started on about how, as HOA president, her word is law. I tried to keep my cool, explained the rules, the actual rules, but she wasn't having it. Threatened to call the police, have me arrested for violating regulations. Even in the blizzard, the cops told her they weren't coming for a parking dispute. I just told her, "You do what you need to do, Patricia. I'm going to help people." And I did. Storm hit hard around 2, and by 4 the neighborhood was buried. Derek called. Turns out the HOA board held an emergency vote. Patricia was suspended from calling for tows without approval. She was the only no. I just bundled up, grabbed my thermos, and started plowing main entrance first, then street by street. Coffee, steaming, snow flying, my truck chewing through drifts taller than the hood. People started waving, kids made snowmen and cleared driveways. Someone left cookies on a mailbox with a note, "For our neighborhood hero." At midnight, I hit Burwood Lane, found the tow driver's mom's house driveway buried. I plowed it clean, waved off her offer of coffee. "Gotta, the world needs more people like you for my trouble." I finished around 3, exhausted but proud, until I spotted the HOA citation tucked under my wiper, $500 for maintaining a commercial vehicle. It had been placed while I was out clearing snow for the whole street. Next morning, Rachel from down the block called frantic. "Have you seen Facebook? Patricia's trying to have you removed from the neighborhood. She posted all sorts of nonsense, multiple violations, interference, demanding a vote to force me to sell my home." Most people were defending me, but a few of Patricia's pals piled on. I called Derek again. "She can't force me out, can she?" He assured me she couldn't, but said I should come to the emergency meeting, bring documentation, get neighbors to vouch for me. So I spent the day prepping. Printed bylaws, highlighted passages, made a timeline called folks who'd thank me for plowing. By the time I got to the community center that night, the parking lot was full, room packed, wall to wall. Patricia sat front and center, looking like she was running for mayor. Michael was there, Jennifer the secretary, typing like her life depended on it. Patricia banged her gavel, accused me of flagrant bylaw violations, even threatened to force a sale. The crowd murmured. Michael stood up, challenged her authority. Jennifer read the bylaw aloud. "Plow attachments for personal use are exempt." The place erupted. Neighbors stood to speak. Mrs. Hughes, 82, and sharp as a tack, talked about getting to her doctor, the Johnsons about getting their daughter to chemo. I'd never taken a dime for any of it. Patricia lost control of the room. Michael called a vote of no confidence. Jennifer, cool as ice, said it was legal. Hands went up overwhelmingly against Patricia. She stood up so fast her chair flipped, shrieked that she'd sue, stormed out, and that was that. Michael became president. All fines against me wiped away. A thank you resolution drafted in my name. Folks lined up to shake my hand. I drove home, sure it was finally over. I was wrong. 2 days later, I hear this awful noise from the garage. Run outside to find all 4 tires on my truck slashed, deliberate, no doubt. Called the cops. Officer Winters showed up, took photos, asked if I had security cameras. I didn't. She suggested maybe getting some, but said without witnesses or video, not much could be done. Derek came over, texted the neighborhood watch. Then Rachel called her neighbor. Diane had a doorbell cam. We checked the footage, couldn't see a face, but there was that unmistakable pink coat. Patricia crouched by each tire. Sent it to the police. By that evening, Patricia was arrested, confessed right away, ranted about how I'd ruined her life. Replacing my tires cost $800. Patricia was charged with vandalism, got probation, community service, and restitution. Then she sued me for defamation, claimed I'd conspired against her. My lawyer, Thomas Brennan, called it a nuisance suit. We countersued, and after Patricia was found guilty and her criminal trial jury took less than 3 hours, everyone remembered that pink coat. Her civil case collapsed. I won, got legal fees covered, but of course she declared bankruptcy. Never saw a cent, but I honestly didn't care. It wasn't about the money. Things finally calmed down. Michael proved to be the HOA president we needed. Organized cleanups got better. Snow removal contracts. Set up a fund for elderly residents. Next winter, I had security cameras but never needed them. More neighbors had plows. Now we worked as a team, and someone even left a case of beer on my porch with another. Thank you. Mrs. Hughes introduced me to her granddaughter, a nurse. We started dating. Patricia, I heard, moved to Arizona, no snow to fight there. A couple months later, Michael came by, thanked me for standing up to Patricia, said I'd reminded the neighborhood what real community meant. I was even given a certificate, neighborhood snow captain. Jennifer handed it to me at the next barbecue, crowd all cheering and ribbing me. After all that chaos, I found myself reflecting. One small act, clearing snow, had set off a tidal wave of events. A whole neighborhood stood up, transformed itself. There was a lesson there about the danger of letting small-minded people dictate the rules, about the power of simple kindness, about standing up even when it's hard. I never planned to be a hero. I just wanted to help. But sometimes doing the right thing means pushing back, even if it means your life gets upended for a while. Funny thing, karma. Patricia wound up in trouble again, even in Arizona. I got a letter from her, eventually part of her rehab. She apologized, admitted she'd been wrong. I read it, tucked it away. Didn't need an apology, but I guess she needed to send one. Today, Meadowbrook is thriving, property values up, people pitching in, real community. Every winter, we clear the roads together, side by side. Sometimes late at night, when the plow's humming and snow's piling up, I think about all that's happened. About Mrs. Hughes making it to her doctor, the Johnson's daughter getting her treatments. About a neighborhood that came together not because of rules, but because of people. So let me ask you, what would you have done? Where's the line between rules and what's right? Ever had to stand up to someone with power just to do the decent thing? Maybe you've been on both sides. Drop your thoughts below. Tell me about the time you fought for what's right or when the rules just got in the way. Because at the end of the day, that's what community's about, neighbors looking out for each other. And that, my friends, is worth every snowstorm.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.